Hey, what's up you guys? It's Jess at Studio 94. Welcome to the inaugural detail for our YouTube channel. Today we're working on a 2011 Lexus ES350. And we are doing a whole bunch of stuff to this car today. We're gonna give it a headlight restoration. We're gonna give it a one-step paint enhancement. We're gonna dial in the interior and kind of show you guys and walk you guys through our signature detail. I'm very camera shy right now. We are gonna vacuum first. Typically with cars for the interior, we either do one of two things. We blow it out first if it's super impacted with dirt and dust. And I know it seems kind of counterintuitive, but blowing it out with air actually helps lift it for when we vacuum. However, if you take a look, this car's not too bad. So I think we're gonna forego the blowing step and we're just gonna vacuum. And then do more stuff. God, I really don't like having this camera on me at all. All right. All right, so we're gonna blow the mats, we're gonna stripe the mats, and then that's kind of it on the inside. These are probably the worst headlights I've ever seen. Ugh. Oh boy. I don't know what's going on with these lines. It almost seems like it was PPF and it just cracked on there, like the heat just kind of burned it on there and it started cracking. But if it were PPF, I feel like it would be kind of more prominent all around the edges, and it's not, it's only in the center, which is weird. So I don't know. What I do know is it sounds like Dalton's going in dry. Sanding it removes off that top layer of oxidation. So what a lot of you guys don't know is that headlights these days are plastic. They're all, so if you have an older car with glass headlights, it's gonna look pristine, it's gonna look brand new. Hold onto that car. But most headlights these days are plastic, and harmful UV rays will kind of eat away at it and oxidize the plastic. So what we're doing is we're shaving off that top layer. A good tip, if you want to prevent this, make sure you guys protect your headlights the same way you protect your paint. You should be putting your sealants, waxes, ceramic coatings on headlights as well. Once we're done sanding, we're going to apply 2 layers of a ceramic coating onto here to keep the oxidation at bay. But for now, I'm just trying to chip away at this. Right now, I'm using 1000 grit. I'm going to tap out and give this to Milton because my girlfriend's here and I'm going to go say hi.
Cool. Hello, everyone. I'm Swanky. When Jess gets tired, she calls me.
Now that we've sanded this down with 1000 grit, we're gonna switch out the 1000 grit for 2000 grit. And the point here with the 2000 grit, we're not gonna do any more correction at this point. Essentially, when you sand something, sandpaper is super, it's got peaks and valleys. So the 1000 grit is super coarse and it makes super deep peaks and valleys, sorry. So with the 2000, we're not doing any correction here. All we're gonna do is we're gonna knock down these peaks and valleys so they're a little bit lower, so that when we come in with our dual action polisher, our microfiber pad, instead of having to knock down and level out a peak that looks like this, you just have to level out a peak that looks like this. So now I'm gonna come in with 2000 grit. Like I said, no more correction is being done here. I'm just gonna level out what I already did. All right, so this has been sanded now. This is what it looks like dry. It's gonna look terrifying. It's super cloudy. It actually looks worse than it did before, but that's okay. We haven't come in and compounded and polished it yet. But the reason I said we do this first before we wash it, if you guys look down here, we have all of this leftover headlight that essentially is just washed down in the car. So rather than doing this and then having to clean it up in a clean car, we do this first, then we start our decontamination detail, and then we're gonna come back and hit the headlights when we also hit the paint. Normally, you guys, we would be washing it under the canopy. Shade is always best when washing a car, but for your sake, for this YouTube video, we are going to suffer and wash it outside so you guys have better lighting. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna attack the wheels first, rinse it, foam it, wash it, rinse it, iron decon it, rinse it, foam it, clay it, rinse it. And that is what we call a decontamination detail. From that point on, we're ready to pull it back in and then give it a one-step paint enhancement. You ready for the money shot? All right, so earlier we sanded the headlight. Now I'm coming in with a microfiber pad. I know everybody's using foam, but because we created such intense grooves with the sandpaper, for extra cut, I'm going with microfiber. The reason is foam is flat. Microfiber has these fingers that kind of go, I don't know if my light is shooting. Microfiber has these fingers and they're really good at cutting. It's kind of like Edward Scissorhands. They go, and they just cut everything up. And they're really, really good at getting rid of oxidation. So to get into the grooves that we made with the sandpaper, to level it quicker, rather than using foam, I'm gonna use something super aggressive. I'm using microfiber, and I'm gonna do something called the mow down technique. So typically for a surface area like this on paint, I'd use 1 drop of compound, if that. Here, I'm literally gonna load my pad up. I'm gonna put a lot on there. Dot, 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 a lot. Saturate the whole thing, and in about 30 seconds, you guys are gonna see some really cool magic. What do you think?
There's just a little spot right here.
Like, can you see it? It's literally sitting, the PPF is sitting in my sandpaper. This is a first for you, Richard. We've never had to sand PPF off. Normally, PPF is removed using steam, and you'll basically heat up the film and kind of scrape it off, but in this case, it was too far gone, so we're sanding. So for anyone watching, the owner of this car is a hairstylist. I would like some compensation, Joe. I'll trade this detail for a haircut. Balayage, something. Not what it's supposed to look like. This is just basically dead PPF sitting in the nooks and crannies of my sandpaper. We also never recommend you guys go this aggressive. It's a very interesting case of burnt on PPF. Damn, Swank. You went through the sandpaper. Who's this? This is Dalton Lanto, swap meet connoisseur, tool extraordinaire. He is the guy who will find anything for under $3. If you need it found, he will find it for under $3. Wow, okay. My car is a good 3-footer then. Today I learned something new. There's something called the 3 feet rule. If it looks good from 3 feet, it's good enough, right, Swanky?
Good enough.
Good enough.
So we went ahead and IPA'd, isopropyl alcohol. Yeah, butchered that. We did that on the headlights to remove any polishing oils, compound, or sandpaper residue. So now Milton's gonna coat with a ceramic coating. It's gonna last at least 2 years. And yeah.
What are we doing to the paint?
What are we doing to the paint? Oh, we're gonna put O'Berk's Defense Gel.
There we go. A good rule of thumb though, if it's like a heavier duty sealant, it's not something kind of like carnauba wax, which doesn't really last very long. A good rule of thumb is to also IPA the paint. So we are gonna go ahead and IPA the entirety of the car to make sure O'Berk's bonds as well to the paint as it possibly can. We wanna send Joe home with a well-protected car. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. It's very simple. IPA, panel prep, whatever you guys need. We personally here at the studio use IPA. We like it better because the ingredients are more simple. It's essentially just alcohol and water. And alcohol is super volatile in the sense that it evaporates really quickly. So if I were to spray it on the car and I wipe, it's not gonna leave a trail. This trail is gonna evaporate really well. Volatility, when we talk on a chemistry level, it talks about molecules,
likeliness to bounce against each other and then evaporate. So
volatility is good when it comes to this because it means it's not gonna leave anything behind. I'll spray the whole thing down, wipe it in straight lines because we don't wanna add any more marring. We just spent a lot of hours polishing this paint and now it is clean, clean. You ever do this? Squeaky clean paint. That's clean paint. Now it's perfectly clean, ready to take on the coating or the sealant that we're gonna apply to it. You wanna do the rest of the car? All right, you guys, the car is clean. It's been decontaminated, it's been polished, it's been prepped, it's ready to go. So now that it's completely naked, we are gonna add some protection to it. What we like to use here at Studio 94 is O'Berk's Defense Gel. This does have a little bit of ceramic in it. If you see anything that says SiO2, that is ceramic in base. This is not a ceramic coating, it's simply a ceramic infused coating. It's almost like if you had a song and you said you were featuring an artist, this is featuring ceramic. The benefits to it, it's gonna be extra slick, extra glossy. It's going to provide a little bit more durability and strength as far as a barrier for the car. But O'Berk's is really simple. We're gonna put a line on our applicator here. Just one line is good enough. Sorry, it leaks a little bit. And O'Berk's will do something called sweating. So take note here, I don't know if you guys can see, but we're gonna apply it. I don't know. It's gonna look really oily. So it's gonna look super oily like this, but these lines that you see, they're gonna start to sweat. And eventually when you know that it's ready to be taken off, the lines are gonna break up into little itty bitty dots. They're gonna start separating from itself. That is what we in this industry call sweating. That's a typical indicator for a lot of ceramic coatings that it's ready to be taken off. It's also an indicator for this ceramic infused sealant that it's ready to be taken off. But I'm gonna do one more line and finish up the other half of this hood. We can probably get this whole car done in what, Swanky?
10, 15 minutes.
I say less.
Yeah.
You wanna race?
Let's do it.
Ready?
Go.
So Millie Rock here, he's gonna apply the ceramic coating to the headlights that we just corrected. I wish we could have corrected it a little bit better, but sometimes life gives you lemons and you don't do anything with it. For the ceramic, because it's a headlight and it's a really small surface area, rather than priming the entire pad or the entire cloth and doing 2 lines, Millie Rock is just gonna do 1. He's gonna apply it in a crosshatch pattern, just like the O'Berk's. We're gonna wait for it to sweat before we start wiping. And then when it comes to wiping, I'm actually gonna give you guys a little tip on that as well. But go ahead, Millie Rock. So with this line, Millie Rock is going to outline the headlight and then he's gonna fill it in a crosshatch pattern. And already you guys can see with the ceramic, it's gonna fill in a lot of those cracks and gaps and kind of lessen the effect that the PPF, the damaged PPF left behind. It's already bringing back a lot of gloss and it's going to enhance the shine of that plastic. All right, you guys, the ceramic now has been sitting for a minute. It's starting to sweat, so in taking it off, my tip here, if you've ever applied ceramic, it kind of pushes and it leaves high spots. If you're wiping this panel, you know, you push on it here, it'll leave a high spot in this panel. So my trick when you're ceramic coating a headlight and a headlight only is I'll rim it and then I'll pull in. I'll pull in away from the paint to avoid high spots. So if you take this towel here, my hands are small, so I'll actually fold it into eighths to get a harder line that fits in my hand. But I'll push it this way, and then I'll scoop in from the paint. Same thing on the edge here. I'll wipe this way and scoop in from the paint. I want to avoid high spots at any cost, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to rim this corner, and then I'm going to scoop in away from the paint. So I've done my 80% wipe here. From there, I'm turning the towel to a clean side and doing my regular buff as usual. And then just for safe measure to avoid high spots, I'm turning it again to another clean side and then just rimming the headlight, making sure that I'm not gonna have any high spots on this paint. All you, Millie Rock.
All right, guys, so we are finishing up just applying some tire shine to the vehicle. We are gonna do the naked option first, and then we're gonna show you the satin option as well as the glossy option. Oh, sorry, the matte option. So, first things first, you're gonna get a towel that you don't really care too much about. We have an old rag that's on its way out. You're gonna use it to apply wheel cleaner. That's gonna give you the naked look. This is gonna give you a naked look once again. On our next tire, I'm gonna show you the satin finish. All right, here we have our tire shine. It's more of a satin finish. Slightly higher gloss level. When you put it on, it's gonna look wet, but as it dries, it's gonna finish nice and satin. As you can see, I'm applying to the applicator and then putting it on the tire. This is gonna help you control where the tire shine is going. Make sure you don't get it on the wheel or on the paint. If you prefer more of a matte finish, we're just gonna come back after a minute and just wipe this tire shine down and knock it down to a matte level. It smells good. It smells delicious. You guys ready? Literally the most
All right, you guys, we just spent probably collectively 8 hours doing the signature detail, and I see this time and time again in detailing that after you put in 8 hours of work on a car, you always kind of forget the last step, which is, in my opinion, arguably the most important step. So whenever you finish working on a car, make sure you remember to crack open a cold one. Cheers.